All right, it's August 16th, Friday. A week from Monday, classes start, and I want to give you a little preview about what to expect in Sociology 495, the capstone. We'll go over a lot of this information again on the first day in slightly different ways, but right now I wanted to give you a sense of what you're getting into, a chance to decide whether or not you want to proceed, and again, just to give you an impression of what's going on, because I won't have the Blackboard site up and running until sometime next week, and maybe just in time for classes to start, definitely before the coming weekend. But, well, let's talk about this a little bit. Like I said, it's 495, the capstone. We think of that as the final course or the ultimate course in your major. We're meeting in 1114 ASH. It's a small room. It has a window into the center of the building. It's not the nicest room, but we're a small group. There's only about 14 of us enrolled at the moment, so it should be just fine. We'll meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 12:50. That's sort of the lunch hour. Bring your lunch if you want, as long as you clean up. Although we'll be doing active things in class every day. I don't do lecturing in this class. There's a lot of discussion and lecturing only in the sense that if there's a question or an issue that comes up and everybody has the same kind of concern, and then we'll do a little bit of spontaneous lecturing. But for the most part, it's discussion and it's one-to-one and small group kind of activities. I am Professor Marshall Patani. You can call me Professor Patani. My office is 2171 Ensemble Hall. That's in the back of the main Soc office. My office hours are going to be held right after class, 1 to 2. I'm also available other times by appointment. Best way to get in touch with me is by email. There it is, bataniem@gvsu.edu. There's my office number. If you need to leave a voicemail, although I don't really like voicemail, I don't like telephones in general. I have a weird telephone phobia that I've never been able to kick. I can manipulate my serotonin, I can manipulate dopamine in my brain, and I'm still like unbelievably anxious and paranoid and freaked out around telephones. I don't know, it makes no sense, but there you go. This number, 206-8371, that's my cell number. You can use that for text only. I'd rather you didn't call me on that, but if you need to send me a text, let me know something, ask a quick question, set up an appointment, whatever, that's fine. It's always on. I won't always, answer right away, but I'll get it if you send it. Oh yeah, that's my my CV. I have a PhD in sociology from University of California, Davis. Go Aggies. 1997, a master's degree from there as well, a master's in fine art from the University of Arizona in 1987, and a bachelor's of art in 1984, San Francisco State University. I'm interested in cultural sociology, aesthetics, art world, sociological theory, some recent publications, this one in After Image, gives you an idea that I look at the intersection of art and public issues. This was a special issue on the aesthetics of atrocity. Most people in the issue wrote about genocide and human atrocities. I tried to apply the idea of atrocity to the environment, and to think about environment atrocities as opposed to environmental disasters, which is how we usually describe them. I also work in theoretical areas of aesthetics and cognition, and have published some papers in that area. And then also sort of basic empirical stuff, the more firmly sociological stuff on pop culture institutions and how they're organized, and what the effects are then for the way that culture gets produced. So that's kind of me and what I'm about. The course description, this just comes out of the catalog, critiques contemporary debates in sociology through active reading, discussion, production of a milestone statement. We'll call that our review essay. You'll reflect on the meaning and application of the sociological imagination, which may include a research project, and it will, or a critical thinking project. In my own words, I would say what this course does and what its objectives are is to give you a chance to show your skills in sociology. So you'll do some research and show that you can do that. You'll present some research and show that you can do that. And we'll do a bunch of discussion and small group work to show that you can really work with and have a facility for engaging with sociological thought. We'll be reading two books, bits and pieces of two books. Barbara Garson's Down the Up Escalator, How the 99% Live in the Great Recession. I thought this was important to read because I came out of undergraduate school in 1984, which was the tail end of a really big economic recession, and it had serious consequences for my sort of career trajectory and how the kinds of decisions I was able to make and the kind of opportunities that I had. And so I feel a kind of kinship with you all. So you're also graduating at the tail end of a Great Recession, actually now called the Great Recession, the biggest recession ever. And so I thought it would be important for us to think sociologically about what that recession is or was, how it came about, what its effects are, and what it means for you. And it's not all bad, by the way, for people like you. Along with that, we'll be looking at Eric Olin Wright and Joel Rogers' book, American Society, How It Really Works. This is, we'll go through this by chapters, giving us kind of a refresher on basic ideas and thinking about structures in the social world. And we'll do that, and we'll discuss those, and hopefully you'll eventually write a review essay. Your final essay for the class will be dealing with your own area of interest in sociology, sort of in relation to the Great Recession, something like that. There's a note about expectations and objectives. We can talk some more about that as we go on. I know people are always concerned about how the work is organized and how it's graded, what gets graded, etc. It's broken down like this. You will be graded on discussion. It's a small group of 14. You'll show up, and not just showing up, but participating and how you participate. This thing here, the BBAs, refers to Blackboard assignments. These are typically focused on preparing you for the discussion or sometimes on producing your essay. So these things are useful for really guiding your reading during the week. There'll be little assignments that you'll need to answer some questions, do a little synthesizing of ideas. Those are always due the date they appear on the schedule. They're due by midnight, typically midnight before our discussion will take place. You'll also be graded on these ICAs, in-class assignments. This is work that we'll actually do in class. Often it'll involve refining and writing various aspects of the essays that we're producing. Everybody working together on their intro paragraphs, on tightening up their thesis statements, making sure their annotated bibliographies are all in order, that kind of thing. And then the big grade is the final review essay, a review of the sociological literature in your area of interest, 3,000 words, 10 to 12 pages. There's a series of immediate steps that are also graded, the annotated bibliography, the thesis statement, the intro paragraph, etc., etc. And then after that, These are what I mean by review essays. You can find these in the annual review of sociology. These are the ones that are professionally done. They often have hundreds of references because they're basically like really fancy literature reviews of an area of sociology. Yours aren't going to be quite as involved in that, but you're going to want to try to basically create a fancy lit review, with your own thesis about what's being covered in this area, what's missing in the area, what are the future promises for this area, and we'll be working on that throughout the semester. As you finish it, and toward the end of the semester, you will be producing professional quality poster presentations of your ideas that come out of your review essay. And then for the final exam, you'll be presenting these in a public forum in front of other students and faculty, etc. Last year we did it in Kirchhoff, and it was nice. We had students coming through, we had faculty. The dean showed up, someone from the provost's office. The president came briefly and saw a few posters and got to take a look at what we were doing. So we'll do that again. I'm hoping maybe we can do it in the new library in one of those fancy spaces, but that's the idea. You write this big paper, there are immediate steps along the way. Toward the end, we get engaged in the production of these conference posters, and that's basically it. It's a lot of work. It can be a lot of fun because you're not really struggling, ideally, you're not really struggling to assimilate a whole lot of new information. What you're trying to do in this class is synthesize and work with information and ideas that you already have. You're already, or should be, as seniors in sociology, somewhat expert in this field. The last thing I'll do here is show you the schedule of how things will kind of typically work. Here in week 4 is a typical kind of week where, by midnight on Sunday you will have to have submitted on Blackboard an assignment having to do with Chapter 4 in the American Society book. So you want to have read that and then be able to complete that exercise, and that'll be graded. You'll show up on Monday then prepared for discussion, because that exercise that everybody does will prepare us to discuss. We'll be on common ground and focused on particular things. We'll have a discussion, also graded. There'll be a rubric you can look at eventually for that. And then in this particular week, we're going to have another discussion on Wednesday, this time on these 2 chapters from the book, Down the Up Escalator. So again, you finish this up, you finish the reading, and you finish that assignment by midnight on Blackboard the night before, and we have a discussion. Then we've got Thursday night an assignment, and Friday an in-class assignment with no reading assigned. And this will be, in this case, more than likely, this assignment will be focused on some aspect of your essay that you're beginning to work on at this point, and then we'll have an activity in class where people can work together and receive critiques and guidance and move forward on the production of their paper. You'll also see that there are some times where we have individual meetings. We do a couple of these early on in week 2 and week 3, so I can hear who you are, what your plans are, what you're going to be writing about, etc. We'll do that again in week 8, sort of to check in, and I think we do it one more time right toward the end, when things are just going great, right after you've turned in your first draft of your essay and gotten some peer-to-peer editing on it. And then that essay will be due the 14th week. And this whole period in here we'll be producing posters while you're finishing up your papers, and then we'll have this this final exam slash presentation slash party where we present our material and posters. So that's the idea. Sociology 495, the capstone. Look for the Blackboard site to be up pretty soon, and I'll start to populate it with assignments. I'll always try to get the assignments up early, so because you'll always want to look ahead at them since they have to do with the reading, and you'll be, you want to be reading ahead, and the assignments will really help you focusing on that reading. For next week, though, take a look at the Down the Up Escalator book. We're going to read the intro, but also come prepared to just talk about yourself and your own interests and what you're doing with sociology and what you find particularly compelling about it. And we'll just get to know each other and sort of figure out some direction for us for the rest of the semester. All right, see you then.